Welcome to the Bullpen. This is our monthly conversation about markets with Tommy Grisafi from Advanced Trading. Tommy, as always, we appreciate the chance to sit down and connect and see what happened in the past month and look forward. I look at the end of July. It seems like it was just how we wrapped up June. There was not a lot of excitement. It seemed like we were under a lot of pressure. What did you see as the big stories during this past month of July?
Yeah, great question. Commodities really starting to slump. Getting into serious low levels. When I think about the month of July, you think that interest rates collapsed. The Fed's definitely we've went from an inflationary period. I would almost go as far to say deflationary. We can go full blown on record and say land prices peaked. They're actually coming down. Biggest news in July would be the John Deere layoffs. That is the canary in the coal mine. Right at the end of the month, we also had Kinsey announcing layoffs. You're seeing some of the big boys get out of the business, or not get out of the business. That's not the right way of saying it. They're getting rid of their staff. That means the orders aren't coming in. They're not. 350 corn does a lot of damage. 350 cash corn does a lot of damage for the ag economy, Don.
They're right sizing, I think is how they say it, corporate speak. So, yeah. So what does that mean as we move into this month of August? Do you see this blasé continuing as we move forward, or what's your take?
Well, great question. The bad news is out. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see grain markets rally. We typically hit harvest lows both through basis and futures in August and September, but there's a chance we already might hit it. We know there's a big crop coming. Go full blown on record and say there's a huge corn crop coming. I'm not sure what could ruin it. If it never rained again for a month, something like that. But there is a massive corn crop coming right now, and we're going to have to deal with those bushels.
When you take a look at that outside economy, it's certainly tough. We saw that here at, just the past couple of days here in this cattle market in particular, which really is kind of that shock absorber. They understand what's happening on Wall Street because it certainly impacts what happens on the dinner table.
Yeah. So in the cattle market, when we have deflation happening and we have the markets contracting and people really starting to get tight for money, that probably doesn't mean they want to go pay a lot of money at the grocery store. And so you're starting to see people search for alternatives. I mean, we all need protein, but what source of protein do you go to? And at some point, when times get tough, you eat less protein and you have more carbs. Carbs are way more affordable than protein. We all know that. Maybe not the healthiest choice, but the cattle industry is climbing up that ladder of record prices, record cash prices. The economy feels good, but with just a few days of market volatility, it could scare people, and you could see the cattle market have a significant sell-off.
That cash market still is so very strong, and it's spilled into that dairy market as well. I've spent some time in the last week or so with some folks in the dairy business, and baby calves that we're going to bring $100, $150 not that very long ago, now bringing $1,000. I mean, it is crazy what's happening with dairy springers, and that's all because of what's happening in the beef market, which is also helping out that dairy market. Class 3 milk is up in the $20 price range again. So, yeah.
Well, we had that, was it a virus that went around and made the dairy cattle not produce as much milk? And but we've had a lot of things. The demand's probably good on that side. It's back to school season. We talk sometimes as market analysts like it's all doom and gloom. It's not doom and gloom. We're just starting to see cracks in the foundation. Now, as far as corn, let me correct myself. It is doom and gloom. The bad stuff you were ever worried about in corn, it already happened. I talked to a large farmer out in western North Dakota today, and I said, I got people calling, lighting up my line, saying something bad's going to happen in corn. Listen, it's already happened, Don. The bad news has already happened today.
So does that give us some upside that things could change as we move forward? Or, I mean, it's the bad behind us or no?
Oh, you're giving me the hard questions here. Is the bad behind us? Let's say, I will say this. If it gets a little worse from here, we can handle it. If it gets a lot worse from here, we're going to see serious trouble in the ag economy. We're seeing people who own land who are really wealthy still be really wealthy, but other people won't be able to handle a downturn like this. So depending on where you are in the marketing cycle with grains and how much land you own, if you own a bunch of 23 crop and haven't sold 24 and 25, the times just got bad. We could go down another 50 cents in corn. But with that, I promise you, right now, today, the market knows an incredible amount of bearish news. We're not going to find out that we're shocked we have a big crop. We know that. We're not going to find out that demand's just okay. We know that. So it's the what we don't know that might surprise people. That may be the next 50-cent pop in corn. We could have a $1 pop in beans. A friend of mine called me today and he said, what if Taiwan knows in the next 90 days it's going to, what if China knows in the next 90 days or after the election it wants to invade Taiwan and they really start to stock up on beans? Couldn't we see an explosive move to the upside? So with the funds short and someone coming in and making a major purchase in grains, we could see quite a significant pop down. We may be experiencing a little bit of that today.
You mentioned the election. The last 3 weeks politically have been something we haven't seen since the 1960s. I mean, this has been a very chaotic time politically. How does the market adjust to that? Do we see some adjustments once we get past an election? What influence does that have?
Well, it's very much affecting the markets. We're still waiting for a Democratic VP candidate. We're waiting for the Democratic National Convention. I hope that goes off safely in Chicago, August 19th through 22nd. We don't need any more drama with any volatility as far as livelihood. Now, as far as mean words and mean tweets, those are going to continue. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes you got to shake your head and say, that was interesting. But we're getting through the Olympics safely. We're going to have a president here in the United States next January. We just don't know who it is. And we could still see more changes. For a while, it looked like maybe that there would be a big move poised at the Democratic National Convention. It does look like the Democratic Party is going with Kamala Harris and that we're looking for a VP candidate. We're going to move forward. President Trump and Vice President candidate J.D. Vance have been very aggressive. And I think some of the rhetoric's already offending people. And I just don't know that they could afford to lose any of those votes. One guy I think could swing the election still we haven't talked about is Robert Kennedy. He will get a certain percentage of the vote. And if he gets 1% of the vote, 2%, he may be the reason we have the next president.
One thing you can certainly say is Harris brought some energy into what was happening on the Democratic side of the ticket, and that at least got things rolling once again for that part of the aisle.
Yeah, there's so many things I could say, but I'll keep them to myself. I will just say this. It's interesting. I'm glad I'm not a politician. I don't think I could handle it for either party. And, there's still one thing you can do. You can vote with your wallet, Don. Mm-hmm. You notice that Chevron moved out of California and moved to Texas. You know that Elon Musk has now moved all of his companies out of California to Texas. We have election every 4 years on presidents, but you get to elect every day with your wallet, and people pay you to do what you do. People pay me to do what we do, and if they don't like it, they could take their money somewhere else.
So we have a supply-demand report, coming up on the 12th. We'll have another one in September when we're going to be sitting down at Big Iron. Like you said, we know we have a big crop. Do these reports have much influence as we move forward here?
That's interesting. If the markets did rally a lot the next week or two, and then they really dropped the big crop news on us, we could have another down day. So it wouldn't surprise me to see corn rally 30 cents from now to then, beans rally, and then all of a sudden they say, yep, we have a huge crop, and we go back down. Our contract lows in, I don't know, we're at pretty affordable prices. Let's take our farmer hat off. Think like some end user, an ethanol plant, a foreign country. The foreign countries and the people of the world really must be thanking American farmers like, wow, thank you so much. You grew corn for $1.50 under what I could produce it. We'll buy it all, right? That may happen.
Yeah. We also have the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, just no change in interest rates at this time, but looks like when they meet the next time around, September, there could be most likely a change.
Right. And what people don't realize, and I'll make it perfectly clear, markets don't wait for the Fed to raise or lower rates to do it. The market has massively lowered interest rates. Upon filming this, we are at a 3.85 10-year. That was at 4.25 a week ago. The markets have already priced in at least 3 rate cuts this year.
So, like I said, lots of things happening. I mentioned Big Iron. We've got a full slate of speakers that will be on our stage during that show, September 10th, 11th, and 12th. You're on the 11th, that Wednesday. We've got market analysts with us each and every day, and we sure look forward to having you with us for that event in West Fargo.
Yeah, thanks for asking, Don. Excited to be there.
Good deal. Tommy Grisafi with us from Advanced Trading. That is our monthly conversation about markets. We call it the bullpen. Until next time around, I'm Don Wick.